We are back with head coach Nick Hill following the 55-27 win over Indiana State, as his interview each and every week is brought to you by the partners of CMC Mitchell & Law, Lance Brown and Matthew Caraway, cheering and fighting for Southern Illinois. Well, first off, that post-game meal looks really good, Coach Hill. You seemed hungry. The football games make you hungry?
Right. Long game.
Yes.
Post-game meal will be here in a minute.
Coach, congratulations. 430 rushing yards in this game. That will go down as your 8th best in program history. And look, it wasn't just DJ tonight. And I think that's what was – and you told your team all week long that there were going to be opportunities for those guys. And just so great. No, it's really not a question, but just really what did you see from your running back room in this game and lead you to believe that, hey, it could really be a good night for all of those guys?
Yeah, I think that's what we talked about in the locker room just there. You know, anytime you can rush the ball for 400 yards, I don't know if where that stands as far as me as the head coach here, but yeah, it was and there were some impressive runs. I think it starts though up front. That's what we called out in the in the locker room post game, is just those guys. I think Noah needs a lot of credit for just, the identifications. Just in the run game, if you're going to be good, right, they brought some different pressures that we got picked up. They were going to use some different line games, and we felt like if we did a good job handling those, we'd be able to rush the football in this game. And then, there were some impressive runs. I felt like yards after contact. I don't know how many there were, but, Ed's big one at the end, that was an impressive run. And really a bunch of guys, too, carrying the football. And then, when we don't have to, not running DJ there really for 3 quarters is a good thing. When you can hand the ball off and run the ball, I think any coach in the country would tell you it makes things a lot easier. It opens up everything. It opens up things in future games with play action pass and being able to do different things. And so we've talked about that. I mean, we have to run the football. They might not come in chunks like they did tonight, but efficiently running it starts with the up front and the tight ends. I thought that when we go watch this tape, I think AJ and Schwindy played an excellent game in the run game. We were running a couple different schemes that we hadn't run a ton of. That first play was a big block by those guys. So it's a credit to all of those guys anytime you rush the football for that many yards.
Nick, staying with the running game, I interviewed Chandler a couple of weeks ago on a pregame show, and he said his biggest adjustment coming from where he did was to be a little bit more patient, to allow the play to develop a little bit more before he really went north and south with it. And I noticed that with 3 of the guys who carried the ball tonight, they are all allowing the offensive line to do what they do before they really hit that gas pedal.
Yeah, no, and I think they've continued to get better at that as we go, and that's part of the progression, just small things, of being patient. And then, Ed does a really good job of that, of being patient, and he's pretty explosive through the hole. Chandler's had to slow down a little bit, even with his alignment and his stance, and when he starts to take off for the run. And he's done a great job. I wish he would have got 100 yards. But I think when you look at 8 carries for 93 yards and there were some physical runs. I've said this all along. I think Chandler is an excellent back that runs with power and explosiveness. We've seen it. You guys have seen it from the spring games and the spring scrimmages, fall camp scrimmages. So we just got to do a continued job. Anytime you've got 3 or 4 of them that you want to try to get touches, and when your quarterback runs the ball as well. LaShawn had the big one to start. And so I thought they all did a great job.
Yeah, kind of throw some flowers at you and the staff coming out of a bye week. Really, really prepped and prepared well. I don't know if you could speak to DJ's preparedness. You knew you were going to see the pressure packages. Seemed like he did a great job all night identifying stuff, getting us in the right plays. And then, we talked during the game about Finsky, how hard it is to play that position, ID and Mike's, and getting you in the right schemes and that type of stuff. And it just seemed like from jump they were really prepared.
Yeah, no, I think, when you have a couple weeks to watch some extra tape and extra scout periods and showing them all the different looks that you think that you can get, and they do a variety of different things, and you don't know what they're going to do, obviously. So those guys recognizing it in real time is the difference between a successful play and not a successful play. And I think DJ did a great job. There was a couple scenarios down there in the red zone that we had prepared for, that they called a timeout because DJ was getting us in the right play. They recognized that he had recognized it, and we were going to protect it up. When they bring 7 guys, we got it protected once. We missed, when you look at his pass percentage, we had a few drops, and then we had a couple fades that, are lower percentage throws. But I thought, yeah, as an offense, the turnover, the 2 turnovers we had. There's a lot of things from this game that you can clean up to.
Yeah.
I'm never going to, when you can score 55 points and hold the team. And so I'm proud of both sides of the football. Defense, again, came up with a big turnover. That's why I was challenging them in the huddle right there. Like, let's get a ball out. And Shug came up big, and Donnie with the pick. And so we got to continue to look at the film when we come in here tomorrow to get better. There'll be a lot of things, but in this league, I think that we have to have the mindset of just one game at a time, put the game plan together, and have the focus to go get the win. And then you get back in here and you gotta do it all over again. And all these games will be different, but we just have to find ways to win.
I heard Shug is going to start a petition, Coach, to try to get a half pick in the game instead of Donnie get credit.
He'd be one to do that,
And
for sure.
And Coach Hill, you and I got to have a tutorial with Luke and show him what NCAA zone field dogs are. He doesn't
Coach
know.
was probably really coming up with some, but yeah, they ran some NCAA pressures that everybody calls, like some 4 off the side, which a lot of teams do. But you got to be prepared for it. And I think that's, for fans, what you spend so much time up here doing and preparing. And sometimes people are, what do you spend so much time thinking about? It's pressures on this down, recognizing it. The big play to VD on 3rd down, of recognizing the coverage and having a man beater and the protection right to be able to throw that. I think VD, he didn't do a ton in the second half, but, man, he's been playing well.
Was the fake punt for AJ a call all the way as the team was going in, or did you spot something and then decide to do it?
No, I think most of the time you have a fake in, it's something that you feel like could be there. I would say most teams around the country, it's a check, so if they don't line up like you want it, then we're just going to punt the football. There's a lot of trust in that, that you have to have. But, AJ has been on the punt in his position now for 4 seasons. And then Miles Marshall, this is his 3rd season in the same position. And when you can do that, they can recognize, and they spend a ton of time with Coach Frame. So when you have something dialed up like that, we have to trust them in real time to say, this is the look that we can check it to. And you just have to have confidence. Most of the time with a fake punt, it's going to be backed up, right? You get around midfield, people are going to get into safe. So you know what you're getting into if you don't get it. Those are things that I talk about with the staff going into it with Coach Prawn and the defense. They know that if you don't get it, we got to line up and play defense, try to hold them to a field goal. But it was a great momentum play for us, and they executed it well.
You virtually had to play this whole game really without Andrew Boehm, Coach Hill, and, man, just insert Ben Fiegel and tied for the team high in tackles with 12. And we talked a little bit about Shug, too, and get him into a moment. Fiegel's been a guy that all of you internally, you talk about program guys and guys who do really all the right things in practice, and I've heard so much praise about him for a while. How did you see in terms of him getting his opportunity tonight, and kind of anything? I know you probably will find out more in the coming days, but anything concerning about Andrew Boehm moving forward?
Yeah, well, it's his groin, so and those sometimes can take a it just don't know. You know, they said he'd be out till halftime, and then we just felt like we weren't gonna wasn't able to go. But yeah, Fiegel, man, I'm proud of him. I called him out in the locker room after the game as well. One guy goes down. Fiegel he's a program guy. This is a developmental sport. We had a lot of recruits here today. sat down with several of them and their families before the game, and it's like, man, you got to develop, and you're going to be better when you have more birthdays, and you have more practices, and Fiegel is going to be an excellent player here, and he showed that tonight, that he's ready to go when the moment's called. We talk about that. You preach about that all the time, and it'll keep happening, maybe at a different position in another day. I think Blaine Howley starting on the offensive line and then being in the group that rushes the ball for 400-something yards across the country. Indiana State has a couple injuries in this league. You're gonna show up and be like, oh, he's got dinged up last week, and then that's why building depth. But Ben did an excellent job. He has the right mindset. Last year he played as a true freshman on a lot of special teams, but he continues to grow and then earns the trust of the coaches that he's ready to roll.
We're going to talk to Shug Walker tonight. Man, it just seems like we talk about his speed, Coach Hill, and has he found another gear this year? And what do you believe has helped him lead to that next gear? Because, man, he was shot out of a cannon so many times tonight.
Yeah, no, I keep saying that too. I mean, because everybody has talked about the three different linebackers that have kind of had their night to be the leading tackler and get some accolades. And I'm quick to say that, I mean, there's really four of those guys, with Shug playing a ton of snaps, and there'll be a game that Shug, and yeah, he's number one. I mean, Shug brings a smile to your face. He'll be a good interview, and he just has the right mindset. I love Shug, but yeah, he plays linebacker like the rest of them. Really, how you want him to play, right? He's got that mentality. He's got that attitude. When he goes and cuts it loose, then he'll strike you.
Coach, we'll get you out of here on this note. We'll have all week, obviously, to talk about your next opportunity at North Dakota State. And you need to cherish these wins because it's hard to win any week in the league in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. But also, our fans are smart. You're an extremely smart guy. Your locker room is filled with them. You know the type of test that's awaiting for your team next week in Fargo. They were able to hold on after a very physical game tonight against Illinois State. But that's what you want. I mean, you want the ultimate test to go on the road in a place that's so hard to win in the Fargo Dome. You guys have extremely high confidence, and, man, that's the ultimate measuring stick, and you guys get that opportunity and earn that opportunity next week.
Yeah, we'll be excited to play. I mean, 10 years in this league, I don't know how many times Tom's sitting over here, he could probably tell me, but we've played number one or number two probably 15 times in our life. That's the thing with other conferences. You might play number one every 10 years, where there's a lot of teams that never played the number one team in the country. But when they're in your league a lot, we have 7 teams ranked in the top 25 in our league. And, a lot of respect. I know we'll talk about that a lot this week. We'll enjoy this one, but that's just the nature of what we do as coaches, right? You'll be thinking about it tonight. We'll be back in here tomorrow and quickly turn the page and get on to NDSU. That's what I love about this league is that you're challenged as a staff and a program organization, and when you can prove to compete at the highest level in this league, you're probably one of the best teams in the country. And NDSU deserves a lot of credit for just the run that they've been on is as good as anybody's in college football at any level. Over the last 12 to 15 years. And so it'll be a great challenge for us, one that we're looking forward to. But we got to have a great week of preparation to go up there and play well.
Coach, congratulations. Appreciate the time, and go chow down a little bit, okay?
All right, I appreciate it.
Nice work.
Yes, that was head coach Nick Hill. Join us post-game as the Salukis get the win tonight. As, again, his interview was brought to you by CMC Mitchell Law, Lance Brown, and Matthew Caraway, cheering and fighting for Southern Illinois.